Hey guys, tonight we're going to slow things down and sit with a story that matters. Meet Marcus Hayes, a 52-year-old black man whose quiet strength hides a powerful truth. In the polished world of a Tucson luxury car dealership, Marcus faces the sting of prejudice, judged not for who he is, but for how he looks. It's a story of resilience, dignity, and a reckoning that'll leave you speechless. Before we begin, please like the video and subscribe, but only if stories like this truly move you. Comment your city and the time you are watching. Now close your eyes or don't, it's your choice. Either way, you're about to witness something real. The Arizona sun blazes over Tucson, its heat rippling across the asphalt of Pinnacle Motors, a gleaming cathedral of luxury cars in the city's upscale foothills. Chrome and glass catch the light, each vehicle a monument to wealth and ambition. Marcus Hayes pulls his weathered Toyota hatchback into a far corner of the lot, away from the spotless Porsches and Bentleys. He steps out, his faded denim jacket slightly creased, sneakers scuffing the pavement. At 52, his broad shoulders carry a quiet confidence, but his eyes sharp, searching, betray a man who's seen judgment before and expects it again. He's not here to buy, he's here to observe. As the new owner of Pinnacle, Marcus wants to see his dealership's soul unfiltered, stripped of pretense. No one knows he's the boss. Not yet. Inside the showroom hums with the faint buzz of fluorescent lights and the murmur of staff chatter. The air smells of polished leather and ambition, cool against the desert heat. Marcus pushes through the glass doors, his reflection fleeting in their sheen. A young salesman, barely out of his 20s, glances up from a desk, his eyes flicking over Marcus's jacket and jeans before returning to his phone. Another employee, a woman with a tight bun, whispers to a colleague, her gaze lingering on Marcus. The shift in the room is subtle but unmistakable, a tightening, a quiet sizing up. Marcus feels it like a familiar weight settling on his chest, but his face remains calm, almost serene. He's used to this. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. He wanders toward a midnight blue Maserati, its curves sleek under the lights. His fingers hover near the hood, not touching, just tracing the air above it. The car's presence is magnetic, a symbol of dreams most can only chase. Marcus's lips twitch, a faint smile. He's earned this place, every inch of it, through decades of grit and sacrifice. But before he can linger, a voice cuts through the hum, sharp-clipped like a blade wrapped in silk. "Excuse me, sir. Can I assist you, Linda Grayson?" U5 strides across the showroom, her tailored blazer, pristine heels clicking on the polished floor. Her face is a mask of professionalism, but her eyes narrow, assessing betray her. She clutches a tablet, her manicured fingers tight around its edges. Marcus turns at meeting her gaze. Her smile is thin, more obligation than warmth. "Just looking," Marcus says, his voice low, steady. He gestures toward the Maserati. "Nice car." Linda's lips purse, her head tilting slightly as she scans him. Jacket, sneakers, the absence of a Rolex or designer suit. "It's a fine piece," she says, her tone cool. "But our clientele here is selective. Most of our inventory requires pre-qualification." Her words hang heavy with implication. "You don't belong." Marcus's jaw tightens, a flicker of hurt crossing his face, but he buries it beneath a nod. "Pre-qualification," he repeats as if tasting the word. "Got it." His eyes hold hers, unyielding, but he keeps his hands loose at his sides. The air between them crackles, a silent challenge. Linda's smile falters just for a moment before she recovers. "If you're browsing, I can suggest something more practical," she says, her voice dropping as if sharing a secret. "We don't want to waste your time." The words sting sharp and deliberate, but Marcus doesn't flinch. He's heard this before, different places, same script. A grocery store clerk trailing him down aisles. A bank teller double-checking his ID, the weight of being seen as less, always less. "Waste my time," Marcus echoes, his tone soft but edged. "I'm good, thanks. I'll keep looking." He steps toward another car, a silver Jaguar, its surface mirroring the tension in the room. Linda's eyes narrow, her tablet clutched tighter. She doesn't follow, but her gaze tracks him, a predator sizing up prey she's already dismissed. Around them, the showroom pulses with life. A couple in designer clothes is ushered to a private office, their laughter loud and carefree. A salesman polishes a hood with reverence, ignoring Marcus entirely. The space is a microcosm of Tucson's elite, where wealth and status are currency, and Marcus in his faded jacket is deemed penniless. He feels the isolation the way it carves out a space around him, but he doesn't bow to it. His fingers brush his pocket where his phone rests a lifeline he's not ready to use. Not yet. Linda retreats to a glass-walled office, her silhouette sharp against the frosted panes. She's speaking to someone now, her gestures quick, agitated. Marcus catches fragments of her voice through the hum. Loitering, not serious, handle it. His chest tightens, a familiar ache. He's been here before, in boardrooms, in boutiques. His presence questioned, his worth doubted. But today is different. Today he holds the keys to this kingdom, even if no one sees it. He moves to the center of the showroom, standing beside a ruby-red Ferrari. Its gloss reflects his silhouette, distorted but unbroken. The staff's glances grow bolder now, less discreet. A young woman at the reception desk whispers to a colleague, her eyes darting toward Marcus. The word security floats through the air, faint but unmistakable. Marcus's breath catches a quiet anger simmering beneath his calm. He could end this now, could make the call and shatter their assumptions. But he waits. He wants to see how far this goes, how deep the rot runs. Linda emerges from her office, her stride purposeful, her face set. She's flanked by a burly man in a dark polo, security no doubt. Her voice carries as she approaches, loud enough for the room to hear. "Sir, I've asked you to leave. This isn't a public showroom. If you don't go, we'll have to escort you out." Marcus stands still, his hands in his pockets, his eyes locked on hers. The room holds its breath, the hum of lights louder in the silence. "Escort me out," he says, his voice steady, almost gentle. "That's your call." Linda's smirk is faint but unmistakable, a victor, certain of her ground. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. The showroom at Pinnacle Motors pulses with a brittle energy, the air thick with the scent of wax and unspoken prejudice. Marcus Hayes stands by the ruby-red Ferrari, its glossy surface catching the harsh glow of overhead lights. His faded denim jacket hangs loose on his broad frame, a stark contrast to the polished wealth around him. At 52, his face is a map of resilience lines, etched by years of proving himself in rooms that never expected him to belong. Linda Grayson's words, "escort you out," linger like a bruise, but Marcus's expression remains steady, his hands still in his pockets. The security guard, a hulking figure named Carl, shifts uncomfortably beside Linda, his eyes avoiding Marcus's. The room watches, a silent jury of staff and stray customers, their whispers a low hum beneath the fluorescent buzz. Linda steps closer, her heels clicking like a metronome of authority. Her tablet is clutched like a shield, her smirk barely concealed. "I'm giving you one last chance, sir," she says, her voice loud, performative. "This is a private dealership. We cater to serious buyers." The word serious lands like a slap, laced with the assumption that Marcus in his worn sneakers could never be one of them. Her eyes flick to his jacket, his lack of flash, and her judgment is clear. He's an outsider, unworthy of this gleaming sanctuary. Marcus's chest tightens, a familiar ache rising. He's felt this before, decades ago. A young man in a bank, his loan application scrutinized while others sailed through. A decade later, a real estate agent steering him away from better neighborhoods. The sting of being reduced to his appearance, his blackness, is an old wound, but today it cuts fresh. Yet he doesn't flinch. His eyes, dark and unyielding, hold Linda's gaze. "Serious buyers," he repeats, his voice low, almost thoughtful. "And you're the judge of that." Linda's smirk falters, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her sharp features. She recovers quickly, her posture stiffening. "I know our clientele," she says, her tone clipped. "And I know when someone's out of place. Let's not make this difficult." The word difficult is a warning, a line drawn in the sand. Carl steps forward, his hand hovering near his radio, but his face betrays hesitation. He's young, maybe 30, and there's a flicker of doubt in his eyes, as if he senses something Linda doesn't. Around them, the showroom's rhythm slows. A salesman pauses mid-pitch to a couple, their heads turning toward the confrontation. The receptionist, her nails tapping nervously on her desk, watches with wide eyes. Marcus feels their stares, a weight that could crush a lesser man, but he stands taller, his shoulders squared. His silence is his armor, his restraint a quiet rebellion. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Marcus says, his voice calm but firm, each word deliberate. "I just want to look at the cars." That a problem? His question hangs simple yet piercing, exposing the absurdity of Linda's hostility. A murmur ripples through the onlookers, a few heads nodding faintly. Linda's face tightens, her authority challenged in front of her staff. She can't back down now, not with an audience. It's a problem when you're wasting our time, she snaps, her voice rising. If you can't afford these cars, there's a used lot down the road. I can give you directions. Her words are a blade meant to humiliate, to drive him out. The couple by the salesman gasps softly, the woman clutching her purse. The receptionist tapping stops, her mouth slightly open. Marcus's jaw clenches, a brief flash of anger in his eyes, but he buries it beneath a slow nod. Directions, he says, his tone deceptively light. That's thoughtful of you. He steps away from the Ferrari, his movements deliberate, and walks toward a sleek black Porsche a few feet away. His fingers hover near its handle, not touching, a silent defiance. Linda's eyes narrow, her tablet trembling slightly in her grip. She's losing control, and she knows it. Carl, she says sharply, nodding toward Marcus. Show him out. Carl hesitates, his hand still on his radio. Ma'am, maybe we should, he starts, but Linda cuts him off with a glare. Now she hisses, Carl sighs, his shoulders slumping, and steps toward Marcus. Sir, let's go, he says, his voice low, almost apologetic. Marcus meets his gaze, and for a moment something passes between them, recognition perhaps of a shared weight. Carl's a black man too, his uniform a thin shield against the same judgments Marcus faces. Marcus doesn't move. He stands by the Porsche, his hands back in his pockets, his eyes drifting over the car's curves. Nice model, he says, as if Carl hadn't spoken. What's the starting price? His question is a quiet act of resistance, a refusal to be erased. Linda's face flushes, her patience unraveling. Enough, she says, striding toward him. You're done here. Carl, get him out or I'll call the police. The word police lands like a thunderclap, silencing the showroom. The couple freezes the salesman's pitch, dying mid-sentence. The receptionist's hand hovers over her phone, her eyes wide with shock. Marcus's breath catches a flicker of old fear surfacing. Memories of flashing lights, raised voices, moments when his dignity hung by a thread. But he pushes it down, his face a mask of calm. He's not that young man anymore. He's Marcus Hayes, owner of Pinnacle Motors, and he's not leaving. You sure about that? Marcus asks, his voice soft but laced with steel. He pulls his phone from his pocket, his movements slow, deliberate. Linda's eyes widen, a crack in her confidence. What are you doing, she demands, but her voice wavers. Marcus doesn't answer. He scrolls through his contacts, his thumb steady, and raises the phone to his ear. The room holds its breath, the hum of lights deafening in the silence. Vanessa, Marcus says into the phone, his tone even. I'm at the dealership. Got a situation here. Can you come by? He pauses, listening, then nods. Appreciate it. He slips the phone back into his pocket and looks at Linda, his eyes calm but unyielding. Won't be long, he says. Linda's smirk is gone, replaced by a flicker of unease. She clutches her tablet tighter, her knuckles white. Carl steps back, his hand dropping from his radio, his face a mix of relief and curiosity. The showroom feels smaller now, the walls closing in as the tension thickens. The couple whispers to each other, their eyes darting between Marcus and Linda. The salesman hovers, unsure whether to intervene. The receptionist's nails tap again, a nervous rhythm. Marcus stands by the Porsche, his silhouette reflected in its gloss, a man unmoved by the storm around him. He's played this game before, faced down bigger foes than Linda Grayson, but the weight of this moment, the chance to expose the rot in his own dealership, feels heavier than most. Linda regains her composure, her voice sharp but less certain. Whoever you're calling it won't change anything, she says, her chin lifted. This is my showroom, and I decide who stays. Her words are bold, but her eyes betray her, darting toward the glass doors, as if expecting someone to burst through. Marcus doesn't respond. He leans against the Porsche, his posture relaxed, almost casual, but his eyes never leave her. The power has shifted, and they both feel it. Minutes crawl by each second, stretching the tension taut. The staff exchange glances, their whispers growing bolder. Who is he? One salesman mutters. Why is she so rattled? Asks another. Linda busies herself with her tablet, her fingers tapping erratically, but her eyes keep flicking toward Marcus. He's a puzzle. She can't solve a threat she didn't anticipate. And Marcus, standing in the heart of his dealership, feels the weight of every eye, every judgment, every assumption. But he also feels something else, certainty, a quiet fire burning beneath his calm. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. The showroom at Pinnacle Motors hums with a brittle tension, the fluorescent lights casting stark shadows across the polished floor. Marcus Hayes leans against the black Porsche, his faded denim jacket, a quiet rebellion against the gleaming opulence around him. At 52, his broad frame exudes a calm that belies the storm brewing within. His eyes dark and steady track Linda Grayson as she paces near her glass-walled office, her tablet clutched like a lifeline. Her earlier bravado has frayed, replaced by a restless energy that betrays her unease. The staff scattered across the showroom steal glances at Marcus, their whispers a low buzz beneath the hum of air conditioning. The word police still lingers a wound in the air, but Marcus stands unmoved, his hands in his pockets, his silhouette reflected in the Porsche's gloss. Linda stops pacing, her heels clicking sharply as she turns to face Marcus. Her face is a mask of control, but her eyes narrow, flickering, reveal the crack in her armor. "You're making a mistake," she says, her voice loud enough to carry across the showroom. "Whoever you called, they can't help you here." Her words are meant to reclaim authority, to remind everyone who rules this space. But there's a tremor in her tone, a hint of doubt that wasn't there before. Marcus tilts his head, his expression unreadable. "We'll see," he says, his voice low, almost gentle, but laced with a quiet power that makes Linda's tablet tremble in her grip. The showroom feels like a stage, every movement magnified. A salesman, his tie slightly askew, hovers near a couple who've abandoned their car tour to watch the unfolding drama. The receptionist, her nails silent, now stares openly, her phone forgotten. Carl, the security guard, lingers near a display of Audis, his broad shoulders slumped, his eyes darting between Marcus and Linda. He's caught in the middle, his uniform no shield against the tension. Marcus feels their gazes a weight that could crush, but he carries it with the ease of a man who's faced worse. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. Linda strides toward Marcus, her posture rigid, her smirk forced. "You're wasting everyone's time," she says, her voice sharp, performative. "This isn't a game. If you don't leave now, I'll have no choice but to escalate this." Her threat is clear, but it lacks the bite of her earlier words. Marcus's calm unnerves her, a mirror reflecting her own uncertainty. He straightens, stepping away from the Porsche, his movements deliberate. "Escalate," he repeats, his tone soft but piercing. "You sure that's the play?" His question hangs a challenge wrapped in calm, and for a moment Linda falters, her eyes widening. The air crackles, the showroom holding its breath. A young salesman, barely 25, whispers to a colleague, "What's his deal?" The colleague shrugs, but his eyes stay on Marcus, curious, almost respectful. The couple by the Audis murmurs, the woman's hand tightening on her husband's arm. Marcus feels the shift, a subtle tide turning. He's no longer just an outsider. He's a mystery, a man whose quiet strength defies the script Linda's written for him. His fingers brush his pocket, where his phone rests, a silent promise of what's to come. Linda recovers, her voice rising. "You don't belong here," she says, her words cutting through the hum. "This dealership is for people who can afford it, not for—" She stops, catching herself, but the unspoken hangs heavy. "Not for you." The racial undertone is unmistakable, a blade slipped between the ribs. Marcus's jaw tightens, a flicker of pain crossing his face, but he buries it beneath a slow nod. He's heard this before, in boardrooms, in boutiques, in the subtle sneers of those who saw his blackness as a deficit. But today, in his own dealership, the sting is sharper, a betrayal of the space he's built. "I don't belong." Marcus echoes, his voice steady, almost thoughtful. "That what you think?" His eyes lock on hers, unyielding, and Linda takes a half step back, her tablet clutched tighter. She's misjudged him, and the realization is dawning, but she's too deep to retreat. "It's what I know," she snaps, her voice trembling with defiance. "I've run this place for years. I know who fits and who doesn't." Her words are a desperate grasp at control, but they fall flat, echoing in the silent showroom. Marcus steps forward, closing the distance between them. His presence is commanding, not through force, but through the quiet weight of his dignity. "You've been here years," he says, his tone even. "And this is how you run things." His question is a mirror reflecting Linda's prejudice back at her. She flinches, her face flushing, but before she can respond, the glass doors swing open, a gust of desert heat breaking the showroom's chill. Vanessa Torres, the regional director, strides in, her navy suit crisp, her expression a mix of urgency and warmth. Her dark hair is pulled back, her eyes scanning the room until they land on Marcus. "Mr. Hayes," she says, her voice carrying a note of relief as she extends a hand. "Sorry I'm late." Marcus returns her handshake, his grip firm, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "No trouble, Vanessa," he says. "Just getting to know the team." The room freezes. Linda's tablet slips slightly, her face paling. The salesman's jaw drops his tie forgotten. The receptionist gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Carl's eyes widen, a spark of recognition dawning. Vanessa turns to Linda, her warmth fading into professionalism. "Linda, I assume you've met Mr. Hayes," she says, her tone sharp, expectant. Linda's mouth opens, but no words come. Her eyes dart between Marcus and Vanessa, her confidence crumbling like sand. Marcus stands taller, his jacket no longer a mark of shame but a badge of his quiet rebellion. "We've met," he says, his voice calm but heavy with meaning. "Had a real interesting talk." His words land like stones, each one sinking into the silence. Linda's face is a mask of shock, her tablet trembling in her hands. The staff exchange glances, their whispers dying. The couple by the Audi stares, the woman's purse forgotten. Marcus feels the weight of their eyes, but now it's different, not judgment, but awe, a dawning respect. Vanessa's eyes narrow as she studies Linda. "I see," she says, her voice clipped. "We'll need to discuss how this happened." Her words are a promise, a reckoning looming. Linda's shoulders slump, her authority unraveling. Marcus steps back, his hands in his pockets, his eyes drifting over the showroom. The cars gleam their surfaces, reflecting a truth no one saw coming. He's not just a customer, he's the man who owns it all. The tension is palpable, a current running through the room. Marcus's calm is a beacon drawing every eye. He could end this, now could demand apologies or firings, but he doesn't. His silence is his power, his restraint, a lesson in itself. Linda's face is ashen, her tablet a useless shield. Vanessa gestures toward the conference room, her voice firm. "Let's talk, Linda." Now, Linda nods, her movements stiff, her eyes avoiding Marcus. The staff watch, their whispers resuming a mix of shock and curiosity. Marcus lingers by the Porsche, his fingers brushing its gloss. The showroom feels different now. Its opulence no longer a barrier, but a stage for his truth. He's faced prejudice before, but today, in this space, he's claimed it's personal. The weight of his ownership, his years of sacrifice pulses through him. He's not here to destroy, but to rebuild, to carve out a place where dignity triumphs over bias. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. The showroom at Pinnacle Motors is a frozen tableau, the air thick with the aftershock of Vanessa's arrival. Marcus Hayes stands by the black Porsche, his faded denim jacket, a quiet defiance against the gleaming wealth around him. At 52, his broad shoulders carry a calm that commands the room, his dark eyes steady, reflecting the weight of a truth just unveiled. Linda Grayson's face is ashen, her tablet clutched like a lifeline, her earlier smirk erased by the revelation that Marcus is the dealership's owner. The staff scattered across the polished floor stare in stunned silence, their whispers swallowed by the hum of fluorescent lights. Vanessa Torres, the regional director, stands near Marcus, her navy suit crisp, her gaze sharp as it pins Linda. The glass doors catch the desert sun, casting slanted rays across the scene, a spotlight on a reckoning. Linda's voice, when it comes, is a fragile thread. "Mr. Hayes," she stammers, her eyes darting between him and Vanessa. I had no idea." Her words are a plea, but they falter under Marcus's steady gaze. He steps forward, his sneakers soft against the floor, his presence filling the space. "No idea," he echoes, his voice, low, deliberate, each word, a stone dropped into still water. "But you were quick to decide who I was, weren't you?" His question is gentle but piercing, stripping away Linda's defenses. Her tablet trembles, her knuckles white, her authority crumbling like dust. The showroom is a held breath. The young salesman, his tie askew, grips a brochure, his eyes wide with awe. The receptionist, her nails silent, leans forward, her phone forgotten. Carl, the security guard, stands by the Audis, his broad frame still a faint nod of respect in his gaze. The couple by the display, their designer clothes, no shield against the drama, whisper softly, the woman's hand tight on her husband's arm. Marcus feels their eyes, a tide shifting from judgment to reverence, but his focus is on Linda. Her prejudice, her snap assumptions have led her here to this moment of exposure. Vanessa steps forward, her voice cutting through the silence. "Linda, you've met Mr. Hayes, the owner of Pinnacle Motors," she says, her tone professional, but laced with steel. "Care to explain why he was nearly escorted out?" The question is a blade, and Linda flinches, her face flushing. "I thought he didn't look like..." She trails off, the weight of her words sinking in, the racial and class bias, unspoken but clear, hangs heavy, a truth no one can ignore. Marcus's jaw tightens, a flicker of old pain surfacing, memories of being followed in stores, questioned at banks, dismissed in boardrooms. But he buries it, his calm, his shield forged over decades. You thought I didn't belong? Marcus says, his voice steady, resonant. You saw the jacket, the sneakers, and you wrote my story for me. He pauses, letting the words settle his eyes, never leaving Linda's. But you don't know me. You don't know what I've built. His words are not loud, but they carry, filling the showroom with a quiet power. Linda's eyes drop her tablet, slipping slightly, her confidence shattered. The staff shift uncomfortably, some nodding, faintly others avoiding her gaze. The truth is undeniable. Her prejudice has been laid bare, and there's no hiding from it. Vanessa's expression hardens. This is unacceptable, she says, her voice firm. Pinnacle Motors is Mr. Hayes's vision, and you've disrespected it. She turns to Marcus, her tone softening. How would you like to proceed? The question is a formality, but it underscores Marcus's authority, a moment of poetic justice that pulses through the room. Linda's head snaps up, her eyes pleading, but Marcus raises a hand, his gesture calm but final. Let's take this to the conference room. He says, his voice even but commanding. Everyone. Now his words are a call to action, a signal that this moment is bigger than Linda, bigger than one mistake. The staff move their footsteps, a soft shuffle against the polished floor, their faces a mix of shock and curiosity. Linda hesitates, her tablet clutched to her chest, then follows her heels, clicking unevenly, her authority stripped away. Vanessa nods to Marcus, a silent acknowledgement of his leadership, and leads the way to the sleek conference room, its glass walls glinting under the lights. The room is a modern shrine, all glass and chrome, with a long table flanked by leather chairs. Marcus stands at its head, his jacket a stark contrast to the polished setting, his presence undeniable. The staff file in, taking seats with a mix of apprehension and respect. Linda sits near the back, her face pale, her hands clasped tightly. Carl lingers by the door, his eyes on Marcus, a quiet solidarity in his stance. Vanessa stands beside Marcus, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. The air is thick, the hum of the air conditioning a faint underscore to the tension. Marcus clears his throat, his voice steady, resonant. My name is Marcus Hayes. He begins, his eyes sweeping the room. As of last month, I'm the owner of Pinnacle Motors. Murmurs ripple through the staff, a mix of surprise and embarrassment. Linda sinks lower in her chair, her eyes fixed on the table. I came here today in this jacket, these sneakers, because I wanted to see what kind of place I've bought. Marcus continues, his tone measured. I wanted to feel what a customer feels walking through those doors. And what I felt was judgment. His words land like stones, each one sinking into the silence. The young salesman shifts his brochure, forgotten. The receptionist's eyes glisten, her hands still. Marcus's voice softens, but its weight remains. I'm not here to point fingers, he says. But what happened today shows we've got work to do. This dealership isn't just about cars, it's about people. And every person who walks in here deserves respect, no matter what they're wearing, no matter who they are. He pauses, his eyes drifting to Linda, who flinches under his gaze. Linda, he says, his tone gentle but firm. You made a call based on what you saw, not what you knew. I want to hear from you. All eyes turn to her, the room holding its breath. Linda's voice, when it comes, is barely audible. I was wrong, she says, her cheeks flushed. I judged you, Mr. Hayes, and I'm sorry. Her words are sincere, but they tremble, a confession wrung from her pride. Marcus nods, his expression unreadable. Thank you, he says. But sorry isn't enough. We need change. He turns to the group, his voice rising with purpose. Starting today, we're implementing training on respect, on fairness. No one gets turned away because of how they look. No one gets judged before they're known. His words are a vow, a vision for a dealership that reflects his values. The staff nods, some eagerly, others warily, but all feel the shift, a new era dawning under Marcus's leadership. The conference room feels lighter now, the tension easing, but not gone. Marcus's calm is a beacon, his dignity a lesson etched into every face. Linda's humiliation is clear. Her authority shaken, but Marcus offers no cruelty, only accountability. He's not here to destroy her, but to rebuild what's broken. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. The showroom beyond the glass walls gleams. Its cars, silent witnesses to a moment of justice, a moment that will ripple through Pinnacle Motors for years to come. The conference room at Pinnacle Motors glows with the soft light of late afternoon. the Tucson sun filtering through glass walls casting long shadows across the chrome-trimmed table. Marcus Hayes stands at its head, his faded denim jacket a quiet testament to the journey that brought him here. At 52, his broad frame carries a calm that anchors the room, his dark eyes sweeping over the staff seated before him. Their faces are a mosaic of emotions, curiosity, respect, unease, each one marked by the revelation that Marcus is the dealership's owner. Linda Grayson sits near the back, her tablet abandoned, her hands clasped tightly, her earlier authority reduced to a fragile shell. Vanessa Torres, the regional director, stands by the door, her navy suit crisp, her gaze steady but warm, a silent ally in Marcus's vision. The air hums with the faint buzz of air conditioning, but the weight of Marcus's words lingers a call for change that resonates beyond the glass. Marcus's voice when he speaks is steady, resonant like a river carving through stone. "We've got a chance here," he says, his eyes meeting each staff member's in turn, a chance to build something better, something that lasts. His words are not loud, but they carry, filling the room with a quiet fire. What happened today wasn't just about me. It's about every person who walks through those doors, every story we don't know, every life we can't judge. He pauses, his hands resting lightly on the table, his silhouette reflected in its polished surface. The staff lean in, drawn to his calm, his dignity a beacon in a world too quick to dismiss. Linda shifts in her seat, her face pale, her eyes fixed on her hands. Marcus's gaze softens as it lands on her, not with anger, but with a measured compassion. "Linda," he says, his tone gentle but firm, "you've worked hard to get where you are. I see that. But today showed us all something we can't ignore." Linda's head lifts, her eyes glistening, a flicker of shame crossing her face. "I'm not here to tear you down." Marcus continues, his voice steady. "I'm here to give you a chance to do better. But that starts with accountability." His words are a lifeline, but they demand action, a truth Linda feels in the silence that follows. The young salesman, his tie still askew, raises a hesitant hand. "Mr. Hayes," he says, his voice nervous but earnest, I think we all make mistakes sometimes. How do we fix this?" His question is raw, a plea for guidance, and Marcus nods, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "We fix it by listening," he says, "by asking questions instead of assuming answers, by treating every person like they matter because they do." His words are simple but profound, a roadmap for a dealership in a world that values dignity over prejudice. The receptionist, her nails quiet now, wipes a tear from her cheek, her voice soft. "I didn't say anything when it was happening," she admits, her eyes on Marcus. "I should have." Her confession hangs a small but vital step toward change. Marcus's smile deepens, not in judgment, but in gratitude. "You're saying it now," he says. "That's where it starts." The room murmurs, a ripple of agreement, a collective exhale. Even Carl, the security guard, nods from the doorway, his broad frame relaxed, his eyes bright with a quiet pride. Some truths linger, waiting to be unveiled. Marcus steps away from the table, his hands in his pockets, his gaze drifting to the showroom beyond the glass. The cars gleam under the lights, their surfaces reflecting a new possibility. "Pinnacle Motors is more than a business," he says, his voice rising with purpose. "It's a promise to treat people right, to build trust, to show what excellence really means." His words are a vow etched into the room's very air, and the staff nod, their faces alight with a shared resolve. Vanessa's lips curve into a smile, her respect for Marcus clear. Linda, still pale, lifts her head, her eyes earnest, a spark of determination breaking through her shame. The meeting ends, the staff filing out with a new energy, their footsteps lighter, their whispers hopeful. Marcus lingers, his eyes on the showroom where the ruby-red Ferrari and black Porsche stand like silent witnesses to his triumph. Vanessa approaches, her voice low. "You handled that with grace, Marcus," she says. "This place is lucky to have you." Marcus nods, his smile faint but genuine. "It's not about luck," he says. "It's about doing what's right." Vanessa nods, her eyes warm, and steps out, leaving Marcus alone in the conference room. He walks to the glass wall, his reflection merging with the showroom's glow. The weight of the day settles on him, the sting of Linda's prejudice, the shock of his revelation, the hope of what comes next. He thinks of his father, a mechanic who taught him to see people, not appearances. Of his mother, whose quiet strength shaped his own. This dealership, this moment, is their legacy too, a testament to a life built on resilience. In a nation built on second chances, Marcus knows change is possible, but it demands courage, accountability, a willingness to see beyond the surface. The sun dips lower, painting the showroom in hues of gold and amber. Marcus steps out, his sneakers soft against the polished floor, his jacket a badge of his journey. The staff move with purpose now, their glances no longer judgmental, but respectful, curious, inspired. Linda lingers by her office, her tablet gone, her face raw but resolute. "Mr. Hayes," she says, her voice shaky but sincere, "I'll prove I can do better." Marcus meets her gaze, his eyes steady. "I believe you can," he says. "Show me." His words are a challenge, but also a gift, a chance for redemption. As Marcus walks through the showroom, the cars seem to gleam brighter, their surfaces reflecting not just light, but possibility. He's not just an owner, he's a leader, a man who's turned prejudice into a moment of clarity, a catalyst for change. The desert heat greets him as he steps outside, but it feels lighter now, a warmth that matches the fire within. This is his place, his vision, a space where dignity triumphs, where every person is seen. Some truths linger, but today they've been unveiled, and Pinnacle Motors will never be the same.